Welcome to the NahStray podcast
with Kevon and Brandon, or Brandon and Kevon.
It could be so simple, kind of, you know?
Yeah, simple. If you want to say that, yeah.
Living in a dream world kind of thing, you know? I remember Lupe Fiasco, like back in, 2012? Lasers, he had this song. It was like Daydream. Prepare the sleep and make the flower.
Yeah, you kind of just took it like all the way back with Lupe Fiasco.
Lupe
I haven't thought
about
that in like a long time.
Yeah, that's facts. I just want to watch people still go to all white boat parties and, still skateboard down Eastern Parkway. You know what I'm saying?
I don't really see that, bro.
By the benches.
I don't really see that, man. I just see a bunch of like old people and Jewish people just walking down the block and whatnot. You know
Not by the museum.
You sure? I don't know.
I think, right where the water fountains are and like the cutoff between like the botanical gardens and into like the Brooklyn Museum. Oh, great segue. Sorry, but what I wanted to do was talk about this show I saw that talked about Brooklyn culture a lot. It was on the New York City channel.
New York City. Oh, okay, yeah. What was it called?
Yeah, No Calls to Action.
No Calls to Action?
No. I'm not going like.
Oh, you're not gonna say the name of it.
No. But it was a good show.
What was it about, bro? I need some details.
I'm giving you the detail. You know what I'm saying? It was basically about two young ladies who had immigrated with their parents, and they basically built up a grassroots organization that was built to sustain them for like out of poverty, out of like potential homelessness, and it's in like Williamsburg, like by the smorgasbord.
Williamsburg. This sounds super millennial gentrifier-ish, bro.
It was on the New York City channel, bro.
New York City. What that mean? That gives us valid. Makes it valid. Makes it less hipsters and gentrification.
Well, I think I have a certain amount of viewers here who appreciate that.
I guess. I mean, I don't, but shout out to those people, man.
Okay, this is not the Come On podcast. All right, first of all, nah. This is what happens. You know what I'm saying? Like, she or two young ladies, they had to go speak to some type of executive to get themselves out of their situation. Immigrating without, because from what I knew, them being like half, just mixed. I'm not going to put out their nationality.
Even that has to be okay. All right.
You blaming me?
I'm just asking. I'm like, bro, we don't need names or like the physical descriptions. I get you.
All right. One is a woman. The other one is a woman.
All right. Yeah, go. All right. Yes, that's.
No, they're
great.
Sisters. They're sisters. I met them.
Oh, you met them?
Yeah,
dope.
It was cool. They actually, I'll tell you what they kind of offer without necessarily telling you.
All right, then tell me, bro.
No, all right, cool. So it's a betterment kind of self-help, self-care related.
Okay.
But it also is like nuanced because it's right in the middle of Williamsburg. Well, in the neighborhood is like almost half hippie, borderline.
I thought Williamsburg was all like 80% like hipsterish, white, college age students.
True, but then there's like nuance Williamsburg or like Amish Williamsburg or like there's I say Amish.
Oh, you mean Jewish?
Yeah.
He called the Jews Amish. That's hilarious.
I say Amish, but
yeah.
No, there's like there's a huge history in Williamsburg because I think back in the 1800s, if my memory serves me right, there was there was something called Ample Hills.
Okay.
And Ample Hills was, and I want all my Williamsburg people, to know that it was, first, a white run kind of nationalist, like leftist, almost, subordinate to like American culture.
Oh, it was a central hub for hipsters and hippies. Yeah. Oh, so it has it has a president of being hipsterish and all that kind of stuff. Okay.
You know, there's like a resurgence going on. Like, what's cool about New York is that you could go to Brooklyn and then you could go to Queens, and you will see that going into a dive bar in Queens is not the same thing as going to like open mic in Brooklyn.
No, I mean,
and it's only like.
I would say that's a good point. I mean, New York, like different cultures is weird because like in other cities I've been in, it's like the culture is very similar. Like you go like uptown, downtown, like it's very similar. In New York, it's like the boroughs are very have their own distinct identity. Where the point where I be running into people from the Bronx and they be like, "Yo, you don't act like someone from the Brooklyn. You act like more like a Manhattan type of dude." You know what I'm saying? And I be like, "What does that even mean?" I used to think that when I was young, but now it's like there's a cultural way that different New Yorkers act based off the environment that they're in. But it's also cool too because you also got like New Yorkers that from even block to block, like some people from Sunset Park, because of the different immigrants, right, are going to be different from people in this neighborhood where there's a bunch of Caribbeans and things like that. While Sunset Park, when I was there, was a lot more was really Spanish. So there's like a lot more Spanish cultural influence, while we have more like Caribbean influence. Like a bar? You said a barrio? Yeah, I don't even know. I've always heard that. I don't even know what that means, bro.
Spanish for neighborhood, cuz.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah. See, I learned a new word today.
You know primo.
I don't know these words, bro. I don't only know English as my language.
Spanish for cousin.
You see it? I guess I know papi. You know what I'm saying? I know familia. But like, that's what I know. But
papas fritas.
What is that?
That's French fries.
That's French fries? That's what they call French fries? See, I didn't even know that, bro. See, like, I don't, truth be told, though, like, growing up in this neighborhood, I feel like I'm really just pretty much eating, like, Jamaican and Trinidadian, and just Caribbean food in general, so I don't really know shit about
this guy's like Keanu Reeves, cook down the door, like, takes a couple shots, and just...
I'm just saying, like, I don't know nothing about that. But that's a crazy thing about living in New York, like, the fact that, like, you can grow up in an area where you don't really have exposure to other types of food.
You just be fucking around,
live
in one spot, and have everything,
Exactly. I mean, my neighborhood, this neighborhood too, like, you have food all over each corner, so it's like, it's never like, you never have to look for something to eat, but it's always the same thing, though.
So if you heard what I said in the beginning of this podcast, I alluded to it could be so simple, right? And then I brought up the NYC channel, right? And what's going on in, like, I guess, like a state of mind of an entrepreneur, someone who wants to relocate, in the future to, not only a better neighborhood, but a safer one. Not even just in my neighborhood. Like, I'm just saying, like, as a whole borough, we are very progressive. So a lot of things that we outline could be outlined in the future. It could be, it could be text for someone. And when I say text, like, someone might see this like, oh, they were talking about things that was pivotal, for the political climate. So let me go back to what I'm saying about it could be so simple, Cause
let's run that back again. Yeah, okay.
Brooklyn, this guy, Brooklyn, is a big place, but what I wanted to do when I first found out about the different cultures and the different interconnections was to almost say my part for my immigrant mother that made me, you know what I'm saying? Because I only had women teachers from first to fourth grade. And even pre-K I didn't have a male teacher, and Brooklyn, Queens, these places that are almost culturally indifferent to gentrification, even though it's happening. We sum up things in our neighborhood that will change after a while. My whole conception of feeling, my whole conception of thought is from a particular place in time. And that's what I wanted to say about it could be so simple, because you gotta relate.
That's the title of the episode. To be so simple. Yeah, it could be so simple.
Look at that.
Yeah,
because
So let me understand. So you're referring to talking about like gentrification and the acceptance, the complacency to that.
Yeah, that's part of it.
That's part of it.
I think what I wanted to talk about barrios for and why I brought up the Spanish words was it's a language that is connected. Not the phonetic language, not Spanish itself. I'm talking about the language of being in Brooklyn, being like a part of like a social construct that is built on like the lower tier. And since
wait, what do you mean by lower tier? Built on the lower tier? What do you mean by that?
Yeah, it just, I mean, like a woman, or, a single parent home, or, our lunch lady, all the things that we got is from like, a third party. Like, we didn't, like, it's good that certain stores like outsource ingredients, and it's good that certain places have, the access to like an avocado sandwich or like a bacon and cheese with pepper jack cheese.
Are you saying that Brooklyn is built upon those people, right? Because I'm trying to understand. So what's the main idea of your statement? Because I'm kind of a bit lost.
It's not a statement. It's culture.
So the main idea is the culture around like Brooklyn and like.
It's like becoming a man, right? It's things in the culture that you learn from old cultural expressions, ancient things. You know what I'm saying? And when I say a lower tier, I'm talking about like me noticing like a caste system that is not only strictly, in a developing country I'm talking about it's in New York, it's in Tokyo, it's in.
Yeah. Like if we're talking about it, you could apply that to kind of like all of New York, like the whole caste system and like certain people necessarily being at the bottom. So certain people could flourish in the middle and upper class. Yeah, but that's the thing though. Like, that's how like this is not even just New York. This is an extension of like America in general and even humanity. You know what I'm saying? Like, and
now that's a little deep because humanity is coexistent. Like some certain things aren't human. Like I say humanity, or no, you say humanity.
Yeah, I'm saying humanity. I'm more cynical, but I'm saying
because we could be talking about two different things.
I think we do. Yeah, I think so too. But I'm saying for the way I see it is like this is something that's been prevalent in like human societies. That's been on a large scale.
Let's think about right now. What is the difference between me saying it could be so simple that Brooklyn people are the lowest tier, yet we run things. You know what I'm saying?
Wait, well, now that's a whole different thing. You're saying lowest tier. What do you mean? Like, look at the bottom of the New York hierarchy. Like, we ranking this from the Queens. We ranking Manhattan, Queens, Staten Island, the Bronx, and Brooklyn.
Off the back, that's a bad rating, bro.
First of all, I'm random, all right? But the point is,
that's not our rankings, not Shabba rankings.
But I'm just saying, you just said Brooklyn at the bottom, yet we run things or whatever.
What is the bottom? The weakest link is the one that, is the
all right,
strongest link.
First of all, I don't
care. Come on, bro. That was a bar.
First of all, we talking about the
weakest. My fans is listening right now. The weakest link.
If we're talking about the weakest link.
The strongest link.
So if we're talking about, come on, dog.
Like, any collective, right? The weakest link has to be supported.
The weakest thing has to be supported.
And if he's not getting support from the other members, that means the other members are not capable of supporting him. So who's the strongest? The one who notices, right?
Wait, but when you're saying it's weak and strong, by what metric are you talking about?
The metric of coinciding in a society that's built off work, like, I can't just go outside and pick a fruit off a tree, you know what I'm saying? I can't.
You can't do that nowhere in New York, so it's like.
But you just said humanity. That's what I'm saying. It's not a humanity thing. But, this needs to be talked about.
No, because the reason to ask a humanity, because you're talking about, like hierarchies, like, who's better, or like, no, actually not that, but more like, people being at the bottom, supporting those who are at the top.
Yeah.
And I said as a humanity thing, I think, like, it's something that's inherent in large societies, because I don't know, I think like I'm taking this like more biological thing. I just think like animals and mammals just have the sense of like having a hierarchical structure where there's a dominant top and a subordinate bottom. That's what I was thinking is a human thing. And you're talking about...
That's a social construct, though.
I mean, it's a social construct, but it's a social construct that transcends species. Like, you see this shit...
If you think about it, it really doesn't. Because...
What? How does it?
All species relate with language, communication.
Yeah, communication.
And basically a science of doing things. And that's why you said it got into biology. Because the science that you think about is the action of divining things from action, like literal physical movement, to like an emotional state, right? And that emotional state has to be reported to an upward level of, whether it be government, higher power, and it's all like, in a order of power. And that's what I'm saying. Like, we're active in controlling the paradigm, yet we're not active in sending off, like, distributing and undistributing theses to the higher power, to the higher structure. Not higher power like this is AA.
Wait, what?
My fans go get it, bro.
Wait, I don't even know. Because you're talking about like government and things are more human, but I'm taking back to my...
It's a social construct.
I'm taking back to my point of it. Like, I'm not saying every animal has a social structure, but I'm saying that it's a very common thing that goes beyond just mammals. It goes to birds, it goes to insects and things like that. So I feel like when we talk about these things like, who's at the top, who's at the bottom, and how unfair it is, and bullshit like that, I'm always thinking like, you're never gonna get rid of this thing. So it's like, okay, if everything is egalitarian and
that's where we differ.
Something
that's what we think. Like, if we think that the purpose is to eschew good or is to work or, all these constructs that, build anxiety, then to rid it out of our system or out of our community conscious is to promote some type of leeway, some type of exuberance in the community that uplifts people.
Oh, so you're saying that if we remove these constructs and we allow, people to, be on equal, it uplifts the community, right? That's what you're saying. And I think, idealistically, that's what we want. But I'm thinking of it like, that shit ain't gonna happen.
Because you say idealistic, right?
I say it's idealistic, but it's because I feel like it could have a very balanced economy where everyone gets paid a decent wage and lives a good life. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, because they follow a form of social capitalism. Yeah. But the way the culture is here, where it's like, think about it. We love the individual. That's why we love sports. You know what I'm saying? We love seeing people up top, and we love to make fun of people at the bottom, especially when people at the top fall. You know what I'm saying? That's why I think like it's really hard to even get that, because there's always going to be a person that wants to be on top of someone else, be better than the rest. Sometimes I think you have people say like, if white people stop being racist and things like that, give black people a chance, things would be better. But I feel like you just have a different way, a new form of hierarchy. It's like, so that's what I'm saying is I feel like it's idealistic. It's just because like,
so who's to blame if you're saying that the hierarchy started with concepts, right? Because last podcast,
last podcast that was, not official, but official, yeah.
Officially unofficial.
Yeah.
To practice,
Yeah.
We got to seeing that the concept of sin or like going against one's, moral programming, in a way. Not like in a, conscious way or like unconscious way or even like a contempt to respond to agent thought. Like as a person who thought about the first thing that they did, back where the dinosaurs was. The first thing they did was, I saw somebody eat this plant and they died, right?
I'm going back to that. Okay.
He hates this. I saw somebody eat this plant and they died, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to warn everybody I know to stay away from this plant. And what is that? Committing a sin. Not from the teacher's perspective, but from the student's perspective. All right?
Okay, so you're saying...
If you're following,
okay, so what you're saying is that, like, a lot of the sins or whatever is do we blame the teacher or do we blame the student for not listening to the teacher?
The teacher has experience.
Yeah.
That's why I brought up women. I was taught by women, yet every woman that has taught me, I failed to respect. And that's not my fault. I'm not saying I'm not a good person.
But wait, but then this is an interesting conversation that we're getting into. Because now we went from sin to talking about, being raised, but a certain way, but still going the opposite of that direction that you were raised in.
No, that's not what I mean. I mean, as a person, I still went away from it, but it was more like an organized, structural indecency that rose up in me after the fourth grade.
Well, okay, so I feel like when you're saying it like that, it's not your fault, but then it's like, what happened in what moment in your life caused you to shift your view towards women to the point where you kind of went against
methodology of teaching, mathematics?
You're saying the mathematics. See, me, I would say that it was the culture in terms of the culture you're around, and then the media that you consumed, but then also seeing the actions of people around you cause that shift.
I think because
mathematics, dog, I don't know. That's what I'm saying.
No, I'm saying look at the cult, the word culture.
Okay.
Cult. Something belonging to, something stemming from. A cult nut doesn't have to be something that's, disadvantageous or, ergonomic or,
Ergonomic? What's that mean?
Ergonomics is the study of, organic, thought, the ergonomics of a allele, two cells splitting apart would be the structure plus the duality of being an atom, and sentient to create more parts of self. That's what I mean by dualism.
Okay.
But
so you're a dualist. You believe in dualism in that sense.
In conforming, yes.
See, I'm different because I'm a non-dualistic kind of person. So I believe I kind of see a lot of things as one and the same, which is interesting. Yeah.
And when you say one and the same,
pause for a second. One thing you have to note, just pause down to the video.
You were referring to talking about how you grew up in an environment with a certain particular group of people, i.e. women, raising you to love and respect. You're in the opposite gender, but somehow you got into this habit where you ended up disrespecting them despite all the guidance. And you were referring to that, and then you were referencing this idea of sin and the student sinning despite the teacher knowing beforehand. And I'm thinking about it's an interesting topic because nobody ever really talks about this. People just think a lot of people just end up messed up in a vacuum. Why is this person like this?
Yeah.
Where was your parents? So a lot of these people have good parents or support systems, but they end up turning a certain way. And I've always didn't like the idea of these people were just born that way. I've always felt like it was a cultural and media thing combined with the people around you leading you to those kind of thought patterns.
So let's talk about it, right?
Yeah, let's talk about it.
Every time we get on this podcast, I got a mic in front of me, women get brought up.
You brought it up. I didn't bring it up at all.
Yeah, I'm taking preps.
All right, you take responsibility. I like that.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay.
But not my responsibility.
Bro, because you're a spiritual man, you're your mother urge and all that kind of things. So of course, and like you said, women's in part of your life, so it's obviously gonna come up. Right. And let's be honest, man, people love to talk about gender and relationships, so it's all good.
Yeah. That's not what we're gonna get into, you dirty dogs. No, one nasty niggas is out there though.
Yeah, but we talk about more mature stuff. We talk about we thinking, we take it to another level.
Yeah,
right?
We're gonna make them know.
So now let's take it to the next. So do you feel like you said the way you was educated, right? You said the maths and sciences.
No, I said the mathematics.
The mathematics, all right? The mathematics led you to being misogynistic in a way. This is interesting.
Yeah, and that's
the thing. Theories out here, yeah.
I'm not misogynistic. That's what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
What I'm trying to put out is that what a woman would deserve, I might not be able to give it to them because they've been looked down upon for such a long time that when the things that suffice actually come in, you know, I can only give it to those I care about in increments, right?
Okay.
And that's what I'm talking about, the de-escalation of thought, the de-escalation of mathematics, the de-escalation of left brain theory, you know, because everything got shifted to order, you know, structure, and, you know, writing an essay. Like, I already knew how to do that. I wrote stories.
Whoa, because I'm kind of like lost. So you're talking about order and structure, like things move towards order and structure. Is this like a recent thing, or are we talking about like,
fourth grade?
Oh,
after fourth grade.
After fourth grade.
Yeah.
Ooh, okay.
Because things changed, like in the schoolroom.
Yeah.
I never got in trouble from pre-K to fourth grade ever, right?
Okay.
Sixth grade, running down the fucking hallway telling people it's a fire alarm.
Damn, bro.
And I told you, bro, it happened. Like,
and you feel like it was because of that shift in kind of.
I feel it's because they don't know how to educate young black men.
So you saying your hot take is they don't know how to educate young black men?
Hot take.
Okay, hot take.
Top five.
Okay, I'm taking that in, right? So me, like I said, I grew up differently. I was kind of like a good boy in a way. Like I didn't really get in trouble. And I think like my parents had a lot of expectations on me. So I'm not going to speak from that kind of like, you know, being a wild boy perspective. But I think
bro. I gotta talk about it.
Yeah, no, I'm saying, but being a former teacher, when I graduated, I was an art teacher and you know, for private schools. And so I've seen how like, you know, many teachers react to, you know, young black boys. And if there's an issue in class, I could definitely say that, like, I think there's a lot of association with, like, you know, with black boys, which are more adult-like, assuming, like, if they're doing something wrong, there's more of an evil intent or a vicious intent, or they're trying to.
You gotta think about it as a disconnect.
I mean, of course, it's a disconnect, right? But it's also a lot of it comes down to, like, I feel like cultural things put on a youth at a very early age.
They're gonna think we hate each other on this shit. Like.
Who cares, right, bro? I don't care. But I'm saying, like, you know, these things bringing on a young kid at an early age, like, I think a lot of times that also comes out with like us not being viewed as completely human. That historical thing where it's like. Like in history, there was this
generational disconnect.
Yeah, where it's like, black man is like this violent thing, and then you looking at like a black boy as this precursor to that, right? So when you already see those things bubble, like you're assuming the worst, you know? And yeah, I could definitely see it, but for me too. But I also just think that a lot of times, you know, a lot of kids grow up in like environments where it's like it's stressful, or they're being neglected, or like, you know, they're being ignored. Or sometimes they're just young and they're hyperactive. Because kids were jerks. So when we were kids, I know when you was a kid, you was a jerk. We was all jerks.
I don't like kids that have attitude. Like, I'm never going to say like, yo, even though he's cute, nah, fuck that.
Nah, see, I'm hella patient, bro, with kids.
No, I'm patient. But like, I'll give you an example, right? Shorty, I was at her crib.
Yeah.
Kid running around, right? And he comes out, walks in the room naked. And starts like dangling, and she's like, "Oh, you wanted him to see a pee-pee, right?" Me as a man, right? I'm like, "Yo, he's a young black boy. He probably, you know, feels detrimental, you know, because there's no man in the house. There's no so he's learning, and I'm not gonna like, but that's not my kid first.
Oh yeah, bro, I've seen that, dude. Okay, this is my hot take. This is what we're gonna separate.
You about to get this shit dark,
bro? No, I'm not about to get this shit dark. What I'm gonna say is, if that was me, bro, the first thing that was thought in my mind was like, yo, what is wrong with you as a mom? Why is this you coming out here tweeting this thing in my face? And the thing is, I noticed too, like,
she needed me and she has a kid, right?
Yeah.
So what does that mean? She's not getting enough support.
Yeah, I mean, she getting enough support, but there's also a responsibility thing. Because it's like, why are you having your kid be naked in front of a man he don't even know that well?
But she took him out and spanked him.
Bruh. You shouldn't even have been in this person. I'm just saying, like, for me, I think there's this thing where a lot of, like, moms who do stupid shit like that, you can't judge them. I get it, like, you know, like, where it's like, you're single mom, and you're taking care of yourself, and this, that, and the third. But there's certain things where it's like, yo, you putting your kid in this, and exposing them, or putting certain ideas that's going to make him self-destructive when he gets older, and he has to deal with other people outside the world. Because I've seen it, bro, where it's like, I've seen youths where they certain things that operate in their environment does not work out once you step outside past their 2-block radius.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I be aggravating me, dog. Like, I've seen that, and I'm just like, I don't get mad at the kid because I'm like, yo, like, at the end of the day, that kid is a sponge, and every little thing you do or say, that kid is going to take in and going to go in his subconscious and is going to come back when he's 35.
Kevon said, that does piss me off.
That pissed me off, dog. Like, oh my God. Like, you know, but that's where you get back to the whole idea of, like, you know, the sin. That's why, like, when we talk about the teacher and the student making the sin, and then we talk about who's at fault, it's like, do you blame the student for not listening, but do you blame the teacher for not giving that guidance?
I'm putting the question up. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Because there is a disconnect between fortifying like a mental conceptualization of things. People say analytical, critical analysis. Those are just terms. You have to learn what critical meant.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking about it. If I'm an ancient, you know.
Yo, he loves this ancient thing, bro. I think he's getting Hotepi, but you know what? We're going to let it rock, bro.
We're gonna let them know that the Hotep niggas got something to say, too.
Ooh, this going to be fun.
On Andre 3000 shit. I don't claim nothing, though. You know, my Hotep nigga is not existing because I'm a solo Doba guy.
You are, so I'm just joking, bro, because I ain't gonna lie. They be aggravating me, but you know.
The most Hotep shit I ever did... Let me think. You know, on Twitter, I probably said some shea butter shit.
Bro, you definitely would say some shea butter shit. So you'll love it. Nah. I'm way different. Bro. I'm on my corporate trying to make capitalistic type shit.
I'm talking about high school. Like, I'm talking. Let me think. It had to be a spur of the moment. Like, I just got home.
Yeah.
I was opinionated because Shorty was on my line and I didn't know what to do about it type shit. You know what I'm saying?
You was salty. So you salty got curved.
I was like, wait a second. Like, let me get my words off.
Let me get my words. Yo, bro, you were completely. You know, it's funny because when I was younger, I was hell withdrawn. And I never like this. I used to be mad scared to say my opinion, but as I got older, I just be like, whatever the fuck.
Bro, anytime I said my opinion, I would see mad people reacting. So I'm like, why would I hide this part of myself? You know what I'm saying?
See, I had to become that because, like, I went to a school where it was like, I get it. It was more liberal, but I feel like the liberalism was so strong that it became dogma, and it was no different from being in like a conservative environment. And I was always afraid to say my opinion. And then when I graduated, I started to realize, like, yo, like, it's all right to have a different view of belief and stuff like that. So now I just be like saying whatever, and I just, you know, as
a social construct, like being a part of like a high school, you know, is a part-time job in itself. But what I mean by is like what NahStray's movement is to pursue the goal of coming out of a box, you know, whether it be like a literal box, you know, a two-story box.
Yo, the box is literal, mental, spiritual, physical. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're not trying to. We want everyone to realize there's no limits to how you feel and who you become, right?
Yeah, not just educe. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like the adduction is, you know, a part of, you know, conscious effort, conscious thought, conscious. You know, I probably like befuddled myself way more times than I won, but that is experience. And I knew every time I befuddled myself, I'd be at a position to look back at it.
Oh, you're like, yo, I fucked up. I could look back and be like, you know what? I learned from this type of situation.
Nah, I fucked up.
Huh?
Nah, I fucked up.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, bro. I'm the same way, dude. I try not to really have no regrets. Like, I move forward with knowing that, like, okay, the decision I made, it was my decision, and I knew why I wanted to do it, and I'm okay with that decision being made.
No, I mean, like, when I take an L, I'll be mad at myself.
Oh.
But even if I was mad at myself, there's no range for taking L's, right?
Yeah, bro.
Because the ultimate L is awareness, and the only time you get awareness is when you know what I'm saying. You know?
The ultimate L is awareness. Wow. Yeah. Damn, I'm different. I've been the ultimate L is being dead. So like
that's what I'm saying. Yeah. Awareness only is when you're dead. That's the Buddhist concept, bro.
Awareness is only when you're dead. That's that's like a Zen koan. Like, it's interesting.
You only realize all the steps you've taken, where it's taken you.
Yeah.
And the things that it's uprooted in your life, the resurgence, repatriation, whatever it is, you know, when you finally leave this earth.
Well,
and I'm not even a dark guy. That's just life.
Well, I think so too. I think you understand how things come together. For most people, I think
No, I'm pretty dark.
No, I'm saying most people do take granted for the life they live or like wallow in their own pity. But I think when you understand that, then you have greater appreciation. Because me, bro, every day I could reflect and I recognize the steps that I'm taking to get where I'm going, and I'm grateful for each step. I know there was definitely in the past where I just was not paying attention or being grateful, but like I think when you are aware in that kind of sense, like aware in the way that you're dying, living like you're dying or whatever the fuck, I think you really do. Yeah,
I just make sure I don't cast my pearls to swine. You know what
I mean? I never heard that saying before. Please explain what that means.
Well, if you might, look at let's just use any concept.
Yeah.
A pearl is something that is so beneficial to a motive or a movement that it will incite change.
Mm-hmm.
And if you put a swine in the mud, he's gonna dig.
Okay.
His nose is gonna get dirty. Brown nosing. You know what I'm saying? So, the consistency of having pearls is a blessing itself. So, when people say that I won't cast my pearls to swine, I don't make do without, legitimizing.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That's what's up, man.
Could be so simple.
Could be so simple. Yo, that's our cue.
That's our cue, bro.
Yeah.
Yo.
So yeah.
And we're back.
When we're back to what we were talking about. So yeah, man, I'm a man that's grateful for everything, and I don't really try to look back and regret. Even some of the stuff that I've done where people look at me like I'm an asshole. You know what I'm saying? Because I just know I had to be that asshole to be the better person. Because
in the long run.
Yeah. Because I get kind of annoyed because a lot of people when they see something that someone does bad, they act like that's just all that there is. Oh, this person is a bad person, or this person.
And for people that have narcissistic tendencies, that they're trying to uproot, we don't want to, take away from your personal growth. We don't want to cause any epistemic imbalance. We want to control, all of our, whether it be traumatic experiences or unknown, let off that we could possibly put in this podcast. We appreciate every viewer, every, consistency, every inconsistency, This life has so many different places to take. I came here today. I walked in. Now it's 38 minutes into our podcast.
Okay.
No, it's milk for the masses, bro.
Milk for the masses. Yeah. Look, all I'd say is that, man. Then I speak my truth and my experiences, and sometimes those experiences might not work well with certain people. If it doesn't, then it doesn't. But if you're here to listen to a different opinion or balance it against yours, understand that it is. Damn, you having me say all the time. But yeah, having it.
Nah, bro.
Balance.
The humblest cow gets the fattest heifer.
We'll see. Maybe. I think about that. Is that really true?
It's true.
Is it true, bro? Cause I'm home, bro. I be out when I'm out in the world in Manhattan, in the Wall Street type around the world. I feel like a lot of them just lie, or
No, I mean, yeah.
Exactly. A lot of them lie. A lot of them.
So what does that mean? You got to conform to these.
But that's no. What I'm saying is people talk about being humble, but does fake humility take away from that? Because you got people who make millions and then pretend that they're broke for the sake of looking morally superior or having that kind of looking at as an underdog type. Because I run into that a lot. We're just I'm poor.
That's weird because look at fake. Fake face facade.
Yeah, I mean, I would call it dishonesty. Because for me, where I've grown up and the schools I've gone to and the people I've been around, I'm poor. And I think America has this infatuation with the underdog, so they try to connect with me by pretending that they're struggling. But for me, I get irritated because like I always know that you're not, and I feel like you're being condescending. I prefer it to be like, it's okay if your life is good and things like that. You don't have to like pretend that you're suffering. Just
everybody
just
wants
listen.
to talk, though.
I know, but I'm just saying,
You know, it's so funny. Everybody has like, let them talk, bro.
No, I quite let them talk, but sometimes it's like, yo, bro, like if I'm struggling, just allow me to struggle. You don't have to like pretend that me and you the same place, because I get frustrated when I find out that's just a lie. You know, like I've had this.
What can you do to change it?
I don't know. I just tell people like, yo, you don't like I tell people for him, you know, honestly, at the end of the day, that's my struggle. You know, I just really want the support in terms of just listening and having that compassion. I don't necessarily need you to kind of dismiss my pain by saying that you go through it too. Because that's what they really be doing, like dismissing a person's suffering by saying like, man, I understand too, man. I'm broke as well, and it's like, no, you're not, bro. Like you live a decent life. Just be a friend and just like listen. And I think that's something that, you know, a lot of people who go through those mental illnesses or those emotions or whatever they're going through, that's what they lack a lot of the time.
Support,
yeah, support, and someone to just really.
Sorry, to narrow it down.
No, please do, bro. I gotta do that with you too. But yeah, man, so you know, support, like just be a support system. And shit
you know,
like
you know what I see, like even though we see things like poor and poverty as, you know, concepts or people, you know, in different positions than us, a humble person would be me. You know, would be NahStray's movement. You know what I'm saying?
Yo, we're a movement now.
Yes.
Maybe, man. We'll see. You're more humble than me, man. I mean, I don't know. I don't even know. I don't even call myself humble, and I'm just like, I don't know, bro. Well, let's go with you. I think your one sounds a lot better. Yeah, we're a movement, man. We humble and we're respectful. We'll go with that until like future episodes, until we find out otherwise.
To the fat lady sing, bro, you gotta just let that shit out.
Yeah. So I guess we could like end it here in a way. You know, we talked about different stuff, right? And we got the first proper recording. Yeah. So
bully.
So why don't you end it for us, man?
Thank you, and I will. Let us pray. Nah. I you know what? You know, I was considering, you know, putting out, you know, everything I wanted to say, you know, with the bio and, you know, everything. With the movement is standing strong. I think, you know, 2 people on a podcast, you know, Kevin and Brandon.
Yeah, I mean, we just started, yeah. It's a good beginning, you know. Oh, damn. Hopefully we will keep, you know, moving forward with, you know, episodes and like bettering ourselves and, you know, talking to people, you know, seeing things, our audience grow. You infected me with your you-know-itis, bro. Like, I can't stop saying it now. But yeah, so.
It's seemingly, you know. Yeah. Nah. I'm gonna make sure I say nah instead.
Wow, that's a good way of branding it. So I guess
we got Linstead, aka Ellinstead. Some guy forgot in bed instead.
So that's the end. Is that the outro?
That's the outro.
All right, man. So have a good night. You know,
good morning. You know, if you binging this,
and see you next week.
Peace.